Welcome to Couchlock, the movie podcast. Bert Kreischer's The Machine is officially out, and we are here to review it. Now, overall, I think it was a pretty fun time at the theater. There was, it's not the perfect movie, but it had a great theme that resonated with me, and it wasn't afraid to wear its heart on its sleeve, which I really appreciated. The comedy was pretty good, and none of it felt too cringy or ham-fisted to me. And I do think that Bert Kreischer is a natural born entertainer, and he was fun to watch. And I think that's really what this movie was going for. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree with a lot of what you said. This film had way more heart than I expected it to. I went into it feeling like probably just going to be like dumb, kind of low-hanging fruit humor, and it
Hmm.
was way more than that. So I was pleasantly surprised. I was praying to God that Mark Hamill wasn't like a cringy character and that he still had it, and he absolutely delivered for me. I'm not like super well versed in Bert Kreischer. I of course know the Machine
Hmm.
skit, but outside of that, this was really the most interaction I've had with him, and I was pleasantly surprised. Did it leave me wanting more? I don't know, but for what it was and what I got, yeah, 100% was sold on it. Easy.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
there were definitely moments that stood out more than others. For me, I think the first like big laugh we got in the theater was the elevator headshot scene.
Oh, yeah. I thought that was so great.
So absurd, and Bert's acting in that scene was actually really good. I
Yeah.
thought it definitely helped sell the comedy part of like three people being shot in the face. So
Yeah, well, he played it off as like, he played it off honestly. He wasn't trying to make it funny, and that's what made it funny, I think.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And also just like the way that they were combining elements of action with elements of comedy.
Hmm.
Um it kind of reminded me of American Ultra. Do you remember that movie?
No, I've never seen
Uh
it.
Jesse Eisenberg and Kristen Stewart. It was another
Oh,
film
yes,
where
I
it
have seen
relied
that.
heavily on the marriage of comedy and action.
Hmm.
And the way it balances the two is very nice.
Yeah.
Um did you have any moments that were like your big ha-has?
I really liked in the beginning. This was kind of a really small scene compared to that one, but when he had the shirt on that was too small, he was like, "What's wrong with this shirt?"
Oh,
I thought that was really
that
funny.
was hilarious. That one was great. Yes. Um and then later when he's trying to have the serious talk with
Yeah,
like it
yeah,
cuts directly. That made it even funnier to me. It's like,
yeah.
why'd you leave the shirt on, bro?
Bert definitely has this physical comedy to him that is just so fun to watch.
That was a huge highlight for me throughout. Like all of the moments I laughed at in the movie were almost always him doing something funny.
Hmm.
Not so much saying, like he did say a lot of funny things for sure.
Yeah,
Although I think Mark Hamill said more funny things than
yeah.
Bert did in this. But his physical comedy was really funny in this.
Yeah, and he was surprisingly good at acting for me. There was, I mean, he had his moments of like, obviously this is his first time acting like this. I think, as far as
Mm,
I know, it's the first thing I've seen from him. But
yeah.
he was surprisingly good. He played off the emotional moments. He played off the big, huge emotional moments, relatively well. I was surprised with that for sure.
Yeah, the same. Like I said, I didn't know much about him other than just that one popular machine stand-up routine. So to get a little bit more of an insight on what he's capable of as an entertainer, it makes me curious to see what else he's got in store. Like this was a very like a very noble first attempt. Um, I think he pulled it off. I think he deserves to be seen on the big screen maybe a little bit more.
Yeah,
Um,
it definitely is a theater movie. I think it's very fun to go to the theaters and watch this movie, and that's kind of a big deal right now, I think. And Mark Hamill being in it so much was a big surprise for me. I didn't think he was going to be in it nearly as much as he was, but he was in it a lot. And his
oh
chemistry
yeah,
with Bert was so funny.
it really was. I really loved him in the final act of this film when he's all like, quacked out on whatever
Yeah.
the Russian mob has been feeding him. It's just like, it's not what I would ever expect to see Mark Hamill doing in a movie. So it was really funny. It was kind of like watching your grandpa get high in a way.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
So funny. And I really enjoyed the father-son story. It was like a unique twist on it, simply because we've got Bert in a very unique situation with his daughter as well.
Mm-hmm.
And as the story unfolds, you can kind of see like the more humanizing elements of someone like Bert Kreischer. Like, he's not just a stand-up comedian, get drunk the machine. Like,
Yeah,
he's a
and
dad,
that's
he cares.
another reason I enjoyed it, was because it was surprisingly honest. And like I said before, it wasn't afraid to wear its heart on its sleeve, because there's this overall like the father and son or father and child theme going on, and finding a balance within yourself and being open and honest with yourself and your family, and how being yourself is an overall positive thing, because if it affects people in ways you don't know, like the scene where he is partying with Igor, and he convinces Igor to leave the Russian mob and make a family and better his life. And you see him later, and he's so happy with his family. And he tells Bert that, like, yeah, you were being yourself, and you didn't even know you helped me, but you did. And I thought that was a really sweet message.
Yeah, those moments where the film really like wears its heart on its sleeve really help pay off in the big scheme of things. Like the scene where Irina and Bert are staying over at Igor's house, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're having kind of like that heartfelt moment about Irina and her siblings, Bert and his daughter. But then it gets kind of like interrupted by the Family Matters moment, which is fucking hilarious.
That was great.
And then the way it ties back in at the end of the film was like the funniest line delivery in the whole movie to me. Irina shoots her mafia dad and then turns around. Did I do that?
Yeah, that was she was definitely a great addition to this movie. And speaking of that last scene, I love how her dad was saying, like, you can't be the boss of this family. Only a man can do it, and the only way to get to the top is through killing. And she puts the gun to his head and kills him. And then as he's dying, or not to his head, I guess she shoots him in the chest. But as he's dying, he lets out a little smile of like appreciation for the fact that she just killed him and she took the spot as leader of the family. And I thought that was kind of interesting.
Yeah, the weird like mirror that it holds up, the movie holds up to itself in that moment, where you've got like Bert and Mark Hamill on one side, father and son, and then Irina and her dad on the other side, like having the same storyline but just like mafia version,
Yeah.
It's very interesting, and also kind of has like comedic value in it in a way.
For sure.
Yeah, I think overall this movie definitely delivered for me. The true question though, Mike, is on a rating scale of 1 to 10, what would you give it? And keep in mind, we have to give it the same rating here.
I know, that's quite the feat. Are we doing decimals? Can we do decimals, or are we just doing whole numbers here?
I don't got time for decimals.
If you were to give me a scale of 1 to 10, having to round up to the whole number, I'd give it a 7.
Oh, wow. Okay, maybe this won't be too far. I was going to give it a 6.
So the reason I give it a 7 is because I was going to give it a 6.5. And we all learned in school, when it's a 0.5, you got to round up. So that's how I landed on 7.
Oh man, well, I didn't even get to the 6.5 because I just stopped right at 6. Simply because I felt like in order for the truly funny moments of this movie to hit, like the ones that were making the theater light up were the ones that I could tell were like inside jokes. You are part of Bert's fan base. He made some sort of internal reference to something funny. That me is just like a very like average movie fan of his, like, and like for me as an average fan of his, it just didn't make sense.
Right.
So because of that, I decided I'm gonna go 6. It's a comedy, and the comedy shouldn't be gatekept by being in his fan club.
That's interesting. That's a very good point. The reason I went a little higher with it is because of I mean, I've said it throughout this entire talk, but the heart in this movie, it gets very honest. It's not afraid to lean into the drama.
The heart.
The well, I mean, when it's the flashback and he's stealing from all of his classmates, it's not funny. It doesn't feel like it's supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be sad, and you're supposed to really not like him in that moment, and you don't, it works out.
They hit those emotional beats. That's
he's
true.
stealing from that girl that that is interested in him, and it's very sad. And then towards the end, he repays her by sending her the ring back. And I thought that was a nice touch. It's like, it's even though if you fuck up, you can find a way to make it right. And I thought that was sweet.
God damn it, Michael! I'm a sucker for good storytelling. Okay, fine. You know what? I'll do it this time. I will round up to 7. We can agree the machine, at least here at Couchlock, the movie podcast, gets a 7 out of 10, which is pretty good. That is more than I thought I was going to give it going in.
I think it's what it deserves. It might not be what it is, but it's what it deserves.
And that's fair to me. So, look, until next time, thank you so much for watching. You can catch more content of us at Couchlock Pod. Please make sure to like, follow, and subscribe. Until next time, keep it locked.